There we go, I got him. Fine.
Welcome everybody to the Brats and Mustard channel, and thanks again for stopping by. Today, rather than heading out fishing in my kayak or doing any hunting, we're going to go out on some public land in northern Michigan and see if we can't find some wild blackberries. And if we get a decent batch of berries, then I'm going to show you how I go about making homemade blackberry syrup. So why don't we just head on out to the woods and see how we do. Now when it comes to berry picking, one of the first things you need to do is you gotta find the berries. We like to pick old orchards and popple forests, mixed forest, popple, pine. You can really find them in a lot of places. There's a lot of them that grow on the edges of the two tracks, the trail roads. The old orchards, the old apple orchards, you'll find a lot of them under the trees. Not many of them are right out in the wide open fields, but along the edges of the tree lines, in fields that are in fields that have a few trees. They'll generally be around the trees, and like I said, along the two track. Many times we don't walk far off of the trail to pick. You can pick them from the road. Sometimes you can pick them right out the window. They can be so close. Yeah, a second here. Today we picked about a half a gallon or so, which is enough for a pretty good batch of syrup. All you need to make the syrup is the basics. You need some vanilla. I prefer real vanilla, but I didn't have it, so I'm just using some imitation vanilla flavor. Cinnamon, nutmeg. You need a pretty fine strainer to keep the seeds out. Some honey, some brown sugar, and some regular sugar. First thing I do is I rinse off the berries in the strainer, get any bugs out, sand, pick off any stems that might have been there, get rid of the leaves. After I've rinsed them, then I just pour them into a big pot, turn the heat on, and let them start to break down. And you'll know when they're breaking down because they start changing colors right away, and you'll start seeing liquid forming in the bottom of the pan. As the color of the berries change more, you'll see there's more liquid in the pan. And as that process continues, the liquid in the pan will get darker and darker. As they're heating up, I like to stir them often, not all the time, but I stir them often. And when I'm stirring, it helps to break the berries down and get the juice out of them. From time to time, I'll even just kind of mash them up against the side of the pan. As you can see here, the berries are starting to break down. They're really changing color. You see some juice starting to form down in the bottom. Now you can see here most of the berries have turned. Still quite a few that are black, so it needs to cook down quite a bit more. Once they've just about completely turned, you can see there's a lot of juice in the pan. Hardly any of the berries are black anymore. I've mashed them up pretty good the whole time. The side of the pan works great, breaks them down real good, and gets whatever juice is left out of there. Then I'll add some water, depending on how many berries I started with. This time I used 3 cups of water. After I've added the water, I'm going to bring the heat back up to a good heavy boil. Then I'll turn it down to simmering hard and I'll just let it boil off. I'll continue to smash the berries a bit and stir them up. And that water will help break them down real good and extract as much possible flavor as I can out of there. You know it's done when it's a nice dark color like that. It's not going to be thick yet. You're going to have to boil it and boil it quite a bit. You can see here most of the berries are down to just a pulp. Then it's time to strain them. I use the basic little wire strainer, and I'll just go a cup or two at a time in there. You see right away you're starting to get a lot of juice down in that pan now. And I'll use the spoon to smash them real good and get as much juice as I can out of those berries. Now once I've taken as much as I can out of the berries, I'm going to start adding some flavor and boiling it down to get it thicker. I'll begin with some vanilla. Normally I'd like to use real vanilla, but I didn't have any, so some imitation vanilla flavor will work. And I don't measure anything, just add it as you go. Just make sure not to put in too much because you can't remove any. Some honey, a couple 4 or 5 shots of honey. A little bit of cinnamon, just a couple dashes of cinnamon. A couple dashes of nutmeg. Some brown sugar. Some white sugar. A little shot of lemon juice. At this point, I'll give it a taste and see what I think. And again, don't add too much to begin with, because if you do, you can't remove any spices. Then I'll turn it up to a good heavy boil and it'll start to get foamy. That's when I'll turn that heat down to a really heavy simmer, basically a low boil. And I'll just start boiling that water out of it. The longer you boil it, the thicker it gets. But also remember, the longer you boil it, the more the flavors concentrate. And this looks just about right to me. Still a little thin, but ready to use. Now we're going to make some pancakes. I got some basic pancake mix, some cream cheese, and some of my syrup. We like our pancakes nice and thin, so I use a fairly thin batter. And of course a nice hot griddle. I don't make them too big because we're going to stack them and layer them with some cream cheese and some of that fresh berry syrup. Well, once I poured the pancakes out and let them cook just for a minute or so, you see you got a lot of air bubbles in there. That's what I like to have them at. And then I'll pour a little bit of syrup in each one. And it don't matter if they run off a little bit, it's not going to hurt a thing. Now I've got the cream cheese nice and soft. You can see it's going to be real easy to spread it. I'll give them pancakes a flip. Then it'll only take 2 minutes on the other side since they are nice and thin how I like them. In just a couple minutes, it's going to be time to plate them. I'll start with one pancake on the bottom. And then we'll put some cream cheese on there. Give it a nice little spread. Then I'll take my squirt bottle and we'll put a little bit on there. And you can see here it's a little bit thin. I went back later and ended up boiling it off a little bit more just to thicken it up a bit. But even at this thickness, it's just great. And another pancake. Put a little bit more cream cheese on there. Give it another squirt. One more pancake. And of course a little more cream cheese. A little more juice. One more pancake on top. And we'll give it a good squirt down with that blackberry syrup. That's it. Ready to eat. And of course after a nice meal like that you gotta have a little dessert. So we'll break out the vanilla ice cream and make us a homemade blackberry sundae. Well, thanks again for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next time you get out and pick some wild berry, make yourself some wild berry syrup. As you can see, it works great on pancakes, French toast, pork loin. Makes an awesome sauce for pork loin, breakfast sausage. It goes good with a lot of stuff.